PS, Engineer John Tanui, and my brother and colleague in crime in terms of digital transformation for Africa of the Ministry of Information, Communication and Digital Economy, the DVC, KCA University, together with the management and staff, AWS, I don't know whether you're ambassador for Africa, Robin Injiru, together with your AWS team. I can't forget the media, that is the press, and then the organizers of this grand event, the organizers and the community. Good morning. Is it still morning? Good morning to you all. I am here to bring you greetings from Kampala, Uganda, and also to let you know and assure you that as a country, we are in this mission of transforming Africa together. I am just going to tell you a brief about my ministry. You know, I was tasked by my brother to tell us why is it the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance. You have the Ministry of Information, Communication and Digital Economy. We have that in ICT, and then the national guidance part as well. He was asking me, are you guiding digital transformation? I said, no, I'm guiding the whole country. And we well know that, I think, capturing from Jeff's talk, when he was telling us about himself, one of the things he did was, I think, a master's in communication and digital media, something like that. Couldn't you wonder why? Why does someone do this Bachelor of Computer Science and then moving on to communication? These things move together. So as we do digital transformation, there's a lot of change management. There's a lot of mindset change. There's a lot of, creating awareness in all the spheres of digital transformation and the pillars of transformation. So I think it was based upon that in the wisdom of our president of Uganda, he decided that let us combine ICT with national guidance because it comes along with a lot of mindset change. So our ministry is in charge of digital transformation, information, communications technologies, and also in charge of guiding the nation. So in there we have both the communication element, we have the national broadcaster, we have the media center for press conferences, we have the media council that regulates, journalists, we have the communications commission that regulates communication, and then we have the technical side. Policy for digital transformation and communication. Then we also have the National IT Authority for implementing the digital transformation, connecting fiber and all that, as well as the National Telecom Operator, Uganda Telecommunications Corporation Limited. So it is a lot, there's a lot going on in there. But so you know why the national guidance. So it comes along, many times when people hear national guidance, it's more of ideology. Yes, we have ideology embraced in there, but then the change management is also a part of the whole picture. So PS has told us the journey of Kenya in transformation. I'm just going to talk a bit about the journey of Uganda in transformation. Last year in August 2023, we launched our National Digital Transformation Roadmap. This roadmap was launched by the Vice President representing His Excellency the President, and it is a 5-year roadmap. You know, I think some of the government policies or strategies we come up with are 10 years or, for 10 years and all this, but for the digital transformation roadmap in particular, we were very intentional on making it a 5-year roadmap because technology transforms after 3 years. So you can come up with a roadmap that will become obsolete by the 5th year. So we intended to have it as a 5-year roadmap focusing on 5 areas. We boast as a country of having very good policies in digital transformation. In the ICT space, we have the Data Protection and Privacy Policy, Electronic Transactions Act, Computer Misuse Act, and so many of them. So we don't want to dwell too much on that because we have already done a lot of work there, but we are dwelling on implementing these policies. So our focus is on strengthening infrastructure, extending connectivity, ensuring that we have, devices. Access to devices is a challenge, not only in Uganda, but the whole of Africa. So I think those are some of the discussions we're going to have in the next week for the Connect Summit. We have another area of focus on digital services, taking as many services online as possible. And when we talk, before digital services, when we talk of infrastructure, that is where we have the technologies, the data centers, the cloud infrastructure, all that is under infrastructure. Then e-services or online services, digital services is the second priority. Third is cybersecurity, data protection, and privacy. We have to ensure that we work in a trusted environment. I had a conversation with the team that has organized this great event, and the kind of expertise that was being presented. People, we have gurus in this room. We have experts in cybersecurity, in cloud computing, technologies, etc. So we are mindful of the fact that we have to strengthen capacity in these areas. So our focus on cybersecurity, data protection, and privacy looks at building capacity as well as creating awareness on how to be secure in a digital environment. The fourth is digital skilling. And I think one of the emphasis of this seminar conference today is to focus on how we can build the capacity for the community that will support our cloud services. So digital skilling is one of those, and it is a spectrum of skills that is required, right from the basic skills, intermediate skills, and up to the advanced level skills. We need to build competence in these areas. We also have emphasis on innovation and entrepreneurship. Without innovation, without enterprising mindsets, we cannot drive digital transformation as Africa. The countries that have gone ahead of us focused on that for their economies. In Africa, we are privileged to have a lot of young talent. 70% of the populations in Africa are young people. And so you own, and I think here 90%, who is old? Today I'm also young. So you see, I think 90% of the people here, or 95%, are young people. And it is you who are supposed to grow the Africa that we want, or the Africa that we want to see, or the Africa where we want to live. And if we strengthen these pillars and areas of focus that I have talked about, the outcome is going to be creating employment opportunities for our young people. The outcome is going to be improving our lives. And also the outcome is going to be, quality of service, efficient service delivery, transparency, accountability, because that is what we demand for as, Africans in the governments or countries where we belong. So that in a summary is where Uganda is focusing. And we have done a lot in terms of walking this journey of digital transformation, but we know it's a big elephant. Until we get all corners of Uganda connected, and then until we get Uganda connected to Kenya, connected to Tanzania, to South Sudan, we cannot say connectivity is complete. We have to have all these cross-border, connectivity. Then until we have everybody digitally literate, before in Africa we're focusing on literacy in terms of mathematics and in terms of either English, Spanish, Portuguese, French, whatever our countries, speak as the national language. But today we look at digital literacy as the way to go. So until we get all the farmers, all your grandparents, everybody digitally literate, we cannot say that we have completed the digital transformation journey. Because if they are literate, then adoption will be high. The services you develop, the innovations you set up will be consumed by these people if they are literate. And then above all, we have to sensitize everybody about security. The fact that people cannot share passwords anyhow. Sometimes we say systems are insecure because it is our own weaknesses as persons. You share a password and then people abuse, the accessibility. And today when we are checking for who did what on a system, we go to the trail and then we'll find it is you who did it, yet it's not you who did it. So that kind of awareness has to be strengthened. So when we look at what AWS intention is to improve and grow Africa, it is it well fits within our digital transformation roadmap. Robin, I didn't take offense when you said that South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, and others are in the one tier. For me, I was actually clapping because I know we won't make the same mistakes these guys have made. Going to tier one, it will be just, a smooth path for us to sail as a country. I had a conversation with your team this week, at the beginning of this week. Winnie and the team were in Kampala. And, they were giving me the stats of what Kenya is doing, 10,000 people trained and all that. And I said, okay, in Uganda we shall double that by 2 when the time comes. And we are looking forward to ensuring that we build, this community and move from it not being a community day for Kenya alone, but we want to see a community day for East Africa or a community day for Africa for AWS. And I was, I was excited by the fact that AWS reached out to me, and then other people who are also doing cloud services also started saying, okay, come and also talk to us. Now I wonder, when we are promoting, this community of cloud services, what will we later on call it? I think that is homework for the teams to think about, so that it is because as we work in these communities, we have to be seen to partner and collaborate and create synergies so that we don't operate in silos. I think one of the things or cancers we are suffering from as Africans is that when everybody brings their technology, they make it hard to integrate it with the next technology. So we should focus on developing interoperable solutions so that we all, play in this field fairly well. I am very passionate about cloud services. My history before I became a PS, Ministry of ICT and National Guidance in Uganda, I had spent over 15 years in academia. I am a researcher, very passionate, and I think one of the last assignments I was working on, I thought probably it would have been the reason I was invited here, I don't know. I was working on a cloud project. We developed a project called Crane Cloud, and we were coming out, we came up with a cloud for researchers. And simply because our motivation was that, we do a lot of innovations, we do a lot of research, and therefore need to host our projects on, on some platform. So storage in data centers is expensive. Foreign clouds are also expensive. So we're thinking of a cloud for, for researchers in Africa. So this conversation comes in really handy. I'll give you just a snippet of what we are doing or what we did, so that it also addresses some of the solutions we need to address as AWS, services. So cloud computing, we are aware that I'm going to combine my remarks with my keynote. So when you see me flowing up to the end, that will be my keynote as well. Cloud computing is a major enabler of not only Uganda, but for Africa. And in Uganda, we anchor this under the Uganda National Digital Transformation Roadmap. Cloud adoption is rapidly gaining traction in Uganda across various sectors for their business operations. And I believe it is the same everywhere. The most cited benefits include cost savings, better availability of services, scalability of the cloud, as well as, ease of doing business. Uganda is also pioneering local applications of artificial intelligence, and the vast capabilities of the cloud, of the public cloud, will become a critical need, or have already become a critical need. The growing market and demand for cloud services presents opportunities ranging from investment in in-country compute and storage infrastructure to strengthen the local capacity to address challenges such as security, cost perception, and upstream connectivity to the existing public cloud. Now, especially post-COVID, the demand for compute resources, the demand for cloud services is now evident. Everyone is building applications. If you set up a business and digital is not your default, then I think you're going to become obsolete the next week or the next day. Because today, everyone wants to get a service conveniently anywhere that they want. I want to wake up at 2 a.m. and order for anything I want online and get it. I want to do a transaction anywhere, anytime, and have it concluded, minus getting off the platform. So that is where the world is going. I commend the Kenyan government and country for doing that through M-Pesa. I think through M-Pesa, you people are going cashless, or have already gone cashless, a journey that we want to walk as a country as well, and that is where we are heading. We have done so already through a number of initiatives. As a country, we have a program called the Parish Development Model that is trying to support people in the subsistence economy to grow to a commercial economy. So the government is giving them loans, but we are monitoring the beneficiary up to the last mile. Where does this beneficiary come from? Up to your home. We have picked all that data. What have they used the money for? And then they have to return the money because it's not a cash handout. But without systems, we can't do that. But now, when we develop the system, we also need, compute resources to store all this amount of data that has been, collected. And then later on, we need compute resources for data mining. What the complexity in mining large amounts of data comes with compute resources. So with the physical data centers, it will become very difficult because expansion or scalability becomes difficult. And sometimes with the physical facilities, you're not able to allocate resources based on utilization. I will come and book and maybe underutilize the space, and then that resource goes to waste. But I believe with the cloud services, this is kind of an agile model or platform where you only pay for what you're utilizing at the time and save the rest for other users that come along. This has necessitated the setup of collaboration centers and sprouting of new community and private cloud providers in not only Uganda, but now we see the region and the continent as well as the globe. So such initiatives are very welcome, and they are going to take us to the next level as a country. In Uganda in particular, the landscape for the cloud requires that currently we have new data centers in the country. We have one national government data center together with the disaster recovery site that is managed by the National IT Authority under the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance. We also have private players. I don't know whether you have heard of Raxio. Raxio has set up a data center at enterprise grade. And these data centers are tier 3 certified data centers with co-location services. The co-located infrastructure is being used by organizations to provide a form of private cloud service, running most of their online business processes. So the one of the NITA-U, National IT Authority under the Ministry of ICT, operates the government private cloud for ministries, departments, and agencies. And we also have the Research and Education Network Uganda, if you have heard of RENU. This offers the research and education community cloud for member institutions. This is in addition to entities that have virtualization solutions in their premises. So the common model of cloud in Uganda is that we're using infrastructure as a service with virtual machine management or a norm. Now, when we go to the technicalities, I believe when I speak these technical terms, you understand where I'm coming from. We also have the developer-focused platform as a service and software as a service. The latter, software as a service, is most prevalent with most priority solutions, adopting the pay-as-you-use pricing model with the service hosted by a cloud provider. Collaborative tools for video conferencing, teaching and learning, storage and processing of documents, and real-time communication are also widely used. In our paper, like I told you, we wrote a paper called, and the title is Cloud Adoption in Low Resource Settings, a case of higher education institutions in Uganda. That is a paper I co-authored with my colleagues at Makerere University. You can have a read and look at it, because as we have this conversation, Robin, we task you to really look at, bringing services to Africa that are affordable. And because the largest part of our population have to be able to afford these services. So Crane Cloud is one of the examples of a localized managed cloud native platform. And I'm going to let my team know that we need to work in partnership with AWS, because this is a concept that we came up with, but we need to scale it up to support, the research community. So Makerere University is one of those examples from Uganda that is demonstrating such benefits and advantages to the developers, education, and research communities. Crane Cloud acknowledges the challenges of adoption and use of cloud in a resource-constrained context. So you're not going to start from scratch understanding that landscape. We've done some work towards it. It is a set of abstractions to support the use of local and public cloud resources, currently providing PaaS test beds for developers in Uganda, especially students and young developers. It is a platform for top-of-container orchestration platforms that provide for deployment, management, and monitoring of applications. The abstractions provide some of the following: better resource management due to the lightweight nature of application containers, and this also extends to balancing the resource costs of the public cloud and local infrastructure. We are also looking at machine learning ops. We run parts of the machine learning ops pipeline as per the requirements of the application. So the Crane Cloud platform is also being used as a learning and demonstration platform for teaching and capacity building for students in cloud computing, currently at Makerere University. So the various, skilling programs that you talked about, we can look into how we can expand or strengthen this project to support academia across the region. I, in one, believe in, I know Kenya has LIWA, linking industry with academia. I believe that academia cannot stand alone without industry, and industry can't stand alone without government. And all these can't stand alone without the community. So we have to look at the linkages between all these stakeholders and how we can support them to grow. So the trainings that you're doing can also leverage on the works and research that is being done in academia for us to come up with scalable solutions that support our context as Africa. There has further been expression of interest for trainings from outside Makerere University. We also have done work with other universities in the country There's Gulu University in the north of Uganda, but now I also want to come back home to KCA University and do that with them as well, Nairobi University and others, so that we form communities of academia that produce products that are relevant for our consumption. So what is the future of cloud as we perceive it from a research perspective? The adoption and use of cloud services is expected definitely to increase. You talked about 15% utilization at the moment, but as we grow, currently Uganda is digitally is growing at a rate of 14.8% per year, not in cloud, but the entire digital transformation. And I believe that this growth is also partly attributed to our, our participation and utilization of the cloud. So this increased demand or utilization will lead to migration of services to the cloud and a quest for cloud-ready solutions at the workplace. Let me give you an example. Currently, I have, as a country, we are taking as many services online as possible. The government has taken a number of services online. The private sector is also taking services online. Everybody is yearning for these services. But we have got to a point where the physical resources, the data centers, are no longer enough. And then they come to me, PS, what are we going to do? We need, we need a disaster recovery site. We have come up with other solutions, and the data center resources are not enough. And then the only option we have, that I had not yet come out openly to say, we have to go to the cloud. But I know at the back of my mind, that is the only option. But now, the cloud community has a task, a big task and role to play. Remember, one of the areas of emphasis I talked about, cybersecurity, data protection, and privacy as our areas of focus. People are so hooked onto their data and their personal data. And the mindset that we have is that when data is somewhere, I don't see it, I don't know who is accessing it, I don't know who is utilizing it. And as governments, we have accumulated large amounts of data. So what are you going to do to convince the people that, yes, your data is in the cloud, but it is safe? That is the only assurance we need. And it can only be through sensitization. It can only be through creating awareness. It can only be through giving us live examples of how safe this is. Of course, we are using cloud today. All our emails are on the cloud. I have never doubted for any one moment that my Gmail is not safe. Or any other accounts. I don't want to talk about the ones that are not safe because I know I'm being broadcast live somewhere. But we all know that there are those that we believe are not secure, and you cannot sign up for them. So if I am convincing my president and cabinet that cloud is the way forward, how are members of parliament, how am I going to package this message in a way that convinces everybody that we are moving to a safe environment? That is the task that we have at hand to do as the AWS community and all other communities that are pushing for cloud services. So the government of Uganda has heavily invested network infrastructure, connecting a vast part of the country to the national backbone. Additionally, there is a significant reduction in upstream connectivity costs, and we continue to ensure that we bring the cost of connectivity down. Potentially, public cloud infrastructure will move to the edge as the demand increases. With increased presence in South Africa, East Africa is the next most probable investment location in Africa. This skilling that we have done, the tens of thousands that have been skilled, and Robin, I put a question to you. What are the numbers in terms of the employment opportunities that have been created for these skilled people? Because we are going to go and campaign for skilling, millions will be skilled. Where are the jobs? And how does this translate into jobs? And I know that is why young people are always yearning to study, with the hope that, this is going to be rewarding one time or very soon. Some have come crying, saying, but we have now turned into professional students. We have done anything and everything studying. But, we are looking for the job. So we have to create a whole value chain of, of digital transformation, right from the skilling, how do we move to ensure that we have, and there are jobs everywhere. We have a business process outsourcing as one of those key enablers or key platforms that we know create employment opportunities for people. In Uganda, it is one of the areas of focus that our president has put on, and it has been a task that has been put on the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance to ensure that we create employment opportunities for our young people leveraging on ICT. But now we have also to put certain things in place. There is we have to have standards or bare minimum of what our expectation is. For example, when we do the skilling, what kind of skilling is it? Is it internationally recognized, and how do we market ourselves? As countries, as governments in Africa, we do not invest a lot in marketing. We do not invest a lot in branding. And I was happy when I was received by one of the branding, is it branding ambassador of KCA, Nimrod. Where is Nimrod? Nimrod has gone to brand outside. Yeah, but branding is very key. We need to see how do we paint a picture of what Africa is, so that when anybody is coming to invest in us, in our human capital, or is coming to invest in creating employment opportunities, we stand out as that. That is what, we have to do. In the data-centric era, where machine learning, artificial intelligence workloads are increasing, the use of public cloud services is even more nuanced. Cloud storage is an additional service to this, and that goes without saying. It will soon become the default. When we're moving the digital transformation journey, we started from turning paper records into digitized records, and that was static data. Someone would go to an Excel sheet and say they are digitized. And then we moved now from digitized records to systems. You connect one office to another and you have a complete office for that institution. We have now moved ahead to integration of these systems. We are integrating institutions to work together. In government, you find internal affairs has to be connected with security, it has to be connected with agriculture, with health, for us to have one holistic system. And all this comes with requirement of resources. If I use the analogy of the agriculture sector, if you don't have a good road network and an area is producing a lot of coffee or a lot of commodities that have to be transported to the market and there is no road to facilitate that transportation, the goods will go bad, there will be no growth in the economy and all that. So the road networks have facilitated that. Similarly, with the IT world, the infrastructure has to facilitate this. The backbone infrastructure, the telecommunication services, the data centers, the cloud infrastructure, name it, has to be in place for us to accelerate and have a complete value chain of digital transformation. Security of the cloud applications and data is also a concern, as I previously said, and I re-emphasize, it is still part of the future of the cloud. One approach is for cloud providers to set up local data storage points, even with processing being handled remotely. And this will guarantee for privacy. To be explicit in whatever we do. When we had our conversation with PS yesterday, he told me that you were concluding or have concluded the cloud policy, which I applaud the government of Kenya for, and we are also moving in that direction. As governments, our role is to set the tone. you know, and then the rest follow. We don't have the money to do all these implementations, but we have to create a favorable environment for the private sector to thrive. We know and are well aware that in economies where digital transformation has grown, it is led by the private sector. But government has to put in place the right policies, it has to put in place the right incentives, it has to put in place the right guidance for everybody to be comfortable in that space. So on the side of government, I do pledge, and on behalf of all governments that we are representing here today, together with my peers, that our role is to ensure that we create that leadership for digital transformation, which is very key. I saw one of the courses was AWS Governance Enterprise IT, because I did some, enterprise IT for governance. But I am impressed that there is one for cloud now. And these, I think we should ensure that our policy makers, people in government as well, don't do skilling for young people alone, come to skill us as well, so that we make the right decisions and are informed to push, this agenda forward.